she knew. She was like, all right. She has a whole story of it too, where she felt like, yeah, that it was like this big moment for her. She was like, oh, my son's gonna do music, and so she wrote that down in a journal, and I've heard it ever since I was a kid. So it's like, it's just funny, me and my mom still talk about that. Your mama knows, man. Your mama knows. They're not right, or they're not wrong a lot of times, man. They know what they're doing.
The intersection of good drinks, good music, and good times. This is Hops and Spirits Bar Conversations.
We got another great episode for you this week as we talk with a Kentucky artist, Jonathan Hutcherson, for our conversation. It's a cool one. He's got a cool story, and I'm so happy that we get to share it because he's also making some good music as well. Don't forget, if you haven't checked out our sister podcast, Hops and Spirits Kentucky, you might have heard of one of our fellow Tasting Notes folks, Kevin Patterson, on it recently for this week's episode. But up next for Tasting Notes, we welcome back Jake Sullick to talk about warmer weather cocktails and what you can expect. Enjoy.
Did you know Hops and Spirits is more than just this podcast? Check out hopspirits.com for our latest episode release, past episodes, interviews with interesting folks in the alcohol industry, and so much more. Just go to hopspirits.com. Feel free to wait until this podcast is done.
Joining us once again for Tasting Notes, he's the beverage director and partner with the Professors LLC. Please welcome back Jake Sullick.
Thanks, Jonathan. I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you. It's been a little while, and I'm always happy to get your expertise because I always feel like you bring a wealth of knowledge on these topics, and I think cocktails is where your heart's at for the most part, right?
That's right.
So, obviously today when we're talking and recording, it's a little chilly, but hopefully whenever people are listening to this, it's a little bit warmer. And, spring and summertime tend to be warmer months for most. So I thought we'd start off with some warmer weather cocktails and what folks might be able to expect out at the bars, because I feel like this is when the seasons have changed for a lot of restaurants and what they've got on the menu, leaving the winter months. But what can people expect when they go out and maybe see something on a menu somewhere?
Spring kind of signals the beginning of gin season. So for menus, when you're going out, you're going to start to see a lot of fortified wine, a lot of gin, a lot of vodka cocktails start coming back on the menu. And that's just because during winter, people have been running a lot of the heavier bodied spirits. So that's when you're running your Islay Scotch, your Armagnac, your Cognac. So you start to transition into the heavier spirits. And you also start moving into bubbly cocktails, something that we don't think about. Bubbly cocktails tend to be crisper, they're a little bit more refreshing, so they tend to hit menus starting in the spring.
Well, and I also love, too, because I feel like around here where we're kind of from in central Kentucky, that I'm impressed by some of the breweries and stuff who are being a little smarter maybe with their cocktail menus and imparting stuff that maybe is on their actual menu, whether that's in cordials or, maybe throwing in mead or honey if they're at a meadery. Yeah,
you're starting to see a really fun union between beer and cocktails. I think it started catching steam around 2015, 2016, but now it's almost become ubiquitous where you can go into a bar and get a so-called beer cocktail or a union of the two almost anywhere, especially in a major market. One of my favorite cocktails is it's called an Americano Perfecto. It was written by Damon Bolte, who was a Brooklyn bartender at the time, but it's basically a classic Americano where you have half Campari, half sweet vermouth, and rather than topping it up with soda water, you top it up with a nice Pilsner. Sounds crazy on paper. It's absolutely delicious.
Well, and that's to me that's perfect for warmer weather months when you're out on the back patio. Maybe you like a beer and your partner likes something a little more bubbly, and that's a perfect combo.
Absolutely.
And so if folks are looking to do the home, I always call it the home bartending route, where maybe they just want to make one for themselves or their partner, what would be a good one for this time of year, warmer weather? Maybe not everything's maybe back at the farmer's market, but some stuff they could try to pull off.
I start making spritzes this time of year. And especially if you're spending a lot of time outside, it's really hot. And if you're in Kentucky, it's going to get even hotter. And so you're sweating a lot, you're getting dehydrated. So if you stick to a lower ABV drink, A, it's more sessionable. You can have more of them. But B, it's going to help with your hydration a little bit. And so a spritz, it's not one recipe. There's not one drink for a spritz. It's just kind of a style, a way of drinking. So you want to take lower ABV ingredients like some lower ABV Amari from Italy. These are bittersweet liqueurs. And pair them maybe with a regular wine or a fortified wine, something that's also very sessionable and drinkable. Put that on the rocks and then top it up classically with club soda. If you want a little bit more of a kick, you can use something like Prosecco. But the whole idea is you want to leave out your base spirit. You want to leave out your vodka, your gin, your whiskey. That way, although you're still consuming alcohol, you're still imbibing, it doesn't quite have that kick. So after 3, you're not feeling really drunk and heavy and gross out in the hot sun.
Yeah, I don't think anyone wants that. And on that cocktail, when you say kind of, you're just talking about in a glass, 1, 2, 3, mix it up, right?
Yeah, something really easy. Right now, one of the best-selling Amara in the world is Aperol. It's bittersweet, orange forward. It's complex but subtle. It's also really, really low proof. So it's really easy to put an ounce of Aperol in the glass, maybe an ounce of white wine if you like white wine, or you could lean the classical route and put an ounce of vermouth in there, and then just top it up with soda water. You can maybe put a lemon or an orange twist on it to add a little bit of extra flavor. But the idea is those ingredients already have a lot of flavor. They're very complex. They have a lot of ingredients that go into making them. And then by topping it up with soda water, you're really just adding texture. You're lengthening it. So you still get that alcohol kick. It's still registering in your head that this is alcohol, but it's just something that you can actually have 7 or 8 of them and feel okay.
And that's the key during the summer months, because the heat will catch up with you if you're drinking the heavy stuff. So, okay, Sam, I've got a little get together, and I maybe want to make a batch cocktail for this time of year. What would be a good one there?
I always make punch when I'm at a get together, or I'm getting together with friends or hanging out. Punch is easy. I feel like I'm on a pulpit and I'm always telling people you've got to make punch, but you just have to think of it as a base recipe. It's really just a sour. So if you like something like a whiskey sour or a daiquiri, that's what punch is. It's just on a large scale. So you always the very classic rhyme for this is one of sour, 2 of sweet, 3 of strong, 4 of weak. You kind of keep those ingredients in mind, where you have, one part of sour, 2 part sweeteners, sugar, 3 parts of a hard alcohol, and then 4 parts of a diluting agent. For cocktails, we typically use water, but summertime in Kentucky, mint tea or an herbal tea like chamomile is a great substitute. You just kind of combine all of that in a pitcher. You don't even have to add ice cubes. You can just make it a day ahead of time, put it in your refrigerator, and then when you're ready to go the next day, take it out and serve it on the rocks. It's fantastic.
I love that, because everything you've mentioned, I always joke that I tend to screw things up, but I really do think I could pull each one of these off, and that's what the goal is always to do, is to make these things truly approachable.
Absolutely.
Well, Jay, I appreciate the knowledge and the cocktails as always.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Check out Hops and Spirits on social media at Hops Spirits, all one word, on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also find Hops and Spirits on YouTube and at hopspirits.com.
Joining us here for our conversation, he's a country artist, songwriter. He's just put out a couple singles, Dust and Makes a Man, and he's from Kentucky, of all places, where I'm based out of, just a few miles away, I think. Welcome in, Jonathan Hutcherson.
What's up, y'all? Thanks, Jonathan, for having me, man. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you hopping on, and I can't wait to dive into where you're from. And I know you're down in Nashville now, kind of full time, but you have those Kentucky roots, and we'll get into that. But this is bar conversation, so I figured if I'm talking to a Kentucky boy, I got to have a little Kentucky bourbon. Got a little Rabbit Hole, a little Cave Hill straight bourbon. You drinking anything good tonight?
Dude, I got a little bourbon myself. Cheers.
There
a little Buffalo Trace.
Ah, see, classic right there.
Come on, you got to.
Now, is that your go-to, whiskey, or do you kind of mix and match, have a few different things for different occasions?
Dude, I'm pretty simple. I don't drink a ton, but when I do, I'm definitely, if I'm hanging around, I'm doing bourbon around a fire. I'll do a lot of times. I'll do Woodford. I'm not to the level of really getting in it. And, I know a couple famous ones where I'm like, okay, this is good stuff, or I've definitely done some tastings and stuff. But if you give me some good Woodford, I'm happy, man. I'm happy.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Buffalo Trace is solid, although I miss the days when it was actually easily findable on the shelves. Although if you know the right places, you can still find it at a decent price.
Yeah, absolutely. It's harder now.
Now, do you do any beer or any other beverages when the like if you're out on a boat or just chilling on the lake or anything like that?
Dude, I do. I'm a big IPA guy now. I love just like the one that I had recently was like the homestyle IPA. I just had one of those, and that was great. I love that. But otherwise, I don't drink a beer a ton. But so if I do drink some beer, I'll have an IPA, not a Bud Light, but an IPA.
Well, something with a little taste, right?
Something with a little oomph to it. Yeah.
Now, I gotta ask you a fun question. I think because it's on your, I believe it's on your arm. You got the date February 1st, 2018. Mm-hmm. Can you explain that date and then why you got that tattoo?
Yeah, so I got it. Let's see. Yeah, this one right here on this arm, left arm. I just, it's February 1st, 2018 is the date I moved to Nashville. So literally the day before I took my last test. Like in high school, I was a senior. Took my last test, and I'm like, all right, I'm headed to Nashville. So I kind of wanted a tattoo for a while, and I wanted something like a date that was important to me, and that was just sort of like a big change for me. I was like, I want to get that on my arm, and just always kind of remind me of that day coming to town and trying something new for once,
Well, and I'm confused though, because normally when you graduate or take your last test, that's maybe in May or April. How did you pull off February 1st?
So my high school experience was like really weird just because I was on The Voice. So I'll try to condense it, but I was on The Voice my like freshman or sophomore year. And then kind of after that, it kind of messed up my high school like experience because I was like homeschooled for some of that. And then I did online school for half my junior year, and basically the counselors gave me, Miss McMillan, shout out Miss McMillan, gave me so much grace. I went to West Jessamine High School in Jessamine County, and they gave me a ton of grace. And they knew my situation was a little different, and I was like, tell me what I need to do to get out of here, and if possible, out of here early. And so I was able to like take community college. Like I think I went like BCTC and took some community college stuff and was able to get out early. Don't know how, but I did it. So February was my end of high school for me. And I still came back and walked with my friends, which was fun too. Had to do that for sure.
But you couldn't wait to get to Nashville though, because that,
man, I was like, get me there. I'm ready to go do the thing,
Now, when did Nashville become more than just, like a dream and where you wanted to actually move there and then make the move?
I mean, yeah, so like it was always in the back of my mind. I'm like, this would be cool. Like this would be fun. Like I could see myself ending up there if music becomes real. And then the older I got, I started kind of songwriting and playing at churches and stuff and, little festivals and stuff like that when I was 14, 15, 16 and started really falling in love with it. I think my family could tell that I was loving music, and then got to do The Voice in 2016, and that kind of was like the thing I needed to be like, all right, let's do it. Like this works enough, and just to have that attached to what I do going forward was kind of cool, and being like, all right, I can kind of have that, going to Nashville and say, hey, like I'd love to write, this is what I've done, like that was helpful, but. So yeah, after The Voice, when I came out of that, I was like, all right, this is for real now. Like I want to do it. So 16, 17, I'd been planning since then to move to Nashville. I don't know how my parents did. Like, I don't know how they let me do it, but they did. So I'm grateful for them.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, you grew up in a big family. I think you're one of like 4 or 5, is that right?
Yep. I have 3 younger brothers and an adopted sister. So 4 or 5, yeah, five now.
Well, and I mean, I'm sure they play a big. Your mom, dad, everyone plays an important part of your life because I mean, like you said, they were willing to kind of go through some crazy times, and then they ended up moving down to Nashville too, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, man. They so I got family in Georgia too. So I got family in Kentucky. My dad's family's in Georgia, and so my parents always like to say that's kind of a good middle ground. But I do think I had a part to play in getting them here for sure. I think Mama coming down a bunch, Dad coming with her, they just fell in love with the area, and they're like, let's just do something new. So my mom spent her whole life in Kentucky and central Kentucky, and so she had never done a move like that. And my dad spent a lot of his life in Kentucky, so it was a big move for everybody, but ended up working out really good. And it's actually right before COVID, so it was kind of just a funny time. But we got here literally right before COVID, so however you want to look at it, it was a blessing because at least we were moved in. Like I'm talking like just moved in, which was crazy. But yeah, dude, they're all here. They're all here now. We're all holding the fort down in Tennessee, man.
Well, now you haven't turned Tennessee orange yet, have you?
Dude, I could never, man. I couldn't. I can't. It's just I got a bunch of friends that are on the train, but dude, I'm always gonna be repping the Wildcats, man. You got to be wearing that blue, and you can hear it in my songs, dude. I write a lot about. I got a bunch of songs that talk about Kentucky blue and bluegrass, so I'm owning that for sure. That's where I'm from.
Nothing wrong with that. Plenty of good things to talk about, and
that's right.
And I'm sure plenty of good experiences and stories to share. And
that's right.
I'm pretty sure too that church played a big role and still does for you. So
yes, sir.
Is that where you kind of started singing? Was in church and kind of grew from there?
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. I kind of just grew up like very young age, singing in church, and would do they'd give me a slot to sing up there, and I'd jump up and sing a hymn or whatever they'd have me do, or lead worship. I would fill in when my youth pastor or my worship pastor wasn't there, and I'd help lead. And I just grew like from a young age. I just loved it. I loved how much music can impact people. You see it firsthand. It's a special thing, a spiritual thing, and so. Definitely found my love for music in the church, and realized very young that I was like something I was going to do for a very long time, for sure. Sure.
And I was going to say, I think your mom even realized that too, because I think I read somewhere where she wrote in a journal that I don't know what he's going to do, but it's going to do music, whether that's teach it, sing it, or play it, or write it. And I think you're kind of doing all of it, right?
Yeah, I'm doing all of it right now. Yeah, no, yeah, she loves to tell that story, man. But yeah, that's from a young age. Like I don't even know. I might have been 1 or 2. She knew. She was like, all right. She has a whole story of it too, where she felt like, that it was like this big moment for her. She was like, oh, my son's gonna do music, and so she wrote that down in a journal, and I've heard it ever since I was a kid. So it's like, it's just funny, me and my mom still talk about that, your mama knows, man. Your mama knows. They're not right, or they're not wrong a lot of times, man. They know what they're doing.
I was gonna say, has she just given that to you like in a card and put it up on your wall?
Hung it on my. It's in it's all of my bedrooms, but other than that, every room I've ever lived in, it's just hanging on my ceiling. Yeah.
Now, I find it interesting too, because while you love music, you do have what I'm thinking some people would go, how does this work? Because you do have moderate to severe hearing loss and wear hearing aids.
Yeah.
So how does that work?
Well, dude, I'm gonna tell you right now. I was born with moderate to severe hearing loss, half my hearing. So I've had hearing aids since I was about 2.5. So, they used to be those big old things you could see from a mile away, and now they're smaller. And it's funny, not a lot of people, I wouldn't say a lot, but there are several people that don't know, like, that I have hearing aids, that I still have to tell, a lot of my writer friends. They're like, oh, shoot, I didn't know you had that. But, man, I've been wearing them since I was very young, and kind of just, I'm entering this little spot right now where I'm trying to figure out how to do. A lot of singers, when they're playing live, they do these in-ears, and so kind of entering that, I had to just get some in-ears, and I was trying to find a way to combine my hearing aids with in-ears if that was even possible, and as of now, I mean, we couldn't figure that out for the time being, but yeah, it has its difficulties, but also it's like I can't really complain. I mean, it's like all of it. Honestly, I just joke about it more than anything. I just laugh it off, and I'm still trying to. I would love to. I'm technically handicapped. I want a handicap sticker. I think that's fair. Don't you think that's fair, man? I mean, I think it's hysterical pulling up in a truck and this kid getting out, but I'm like, I got the hearing aids. Maybe I should have a handicap sticker. Maybe I should.
Always not the first spot, but
not the first, the second handicap one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you see people that are like, they get out and you're like, what do they do? They're fine. They look fine. I'm like, that would be me. They're like, what's he doing there? But then I just flip the nades out like, you tell me. You tell me. Golly.
Well, you got to build an excuse. Like if you really didn't want to hear something, you just go, I didn't hear it.
Yeah. Well, 1 second. Yeah. I'll be back. In a second. Yeah.
But I was curious about it. I mean, for you though, I mean that's something you've lived with, so you've grown used to it. I'm sure.
Yep.
But when it does come to the live shows, I'm guessing that is where it is weird, like you said, because that's a lot of people kind of use that for tracking things like that. Maybe not if you're doing acoustic stuff, but if you're playing with a band.
Yeah.
There is a lot of that.
It's a lot of, and I'm realizing really just recently, like the way I sing, I kind of sing a little harder just because I can't hear myself as good. I realize I've developed some I sing harder than I need to. I even talk louder than I should, but it's the way, I don't know. It's the way I've always done it, because I'm always trying to hear myself speak. And so it's starting to shake out a little bit because, I'm like, all right, I need to protect my voice a little bit, not sing as hard because you don't want to lose your voice. And then being on stage with wedges and stuff like that, I'm trying to figure out what setting works in my hearing aids to hear things. It's a little bit of work, but dude, it's all good. We'll figure it out. It always works out. I'll get something, and they're always making new technology. It just gets better and better every year, really.
I was gonna say, I mean, I think I know, like, I mean, nowadays you get Bluetooth in them, and you can hook it up to the TV.
Dude, that's probably my favorite thing. Like if you were to call me right now, it would go straight into my ears, and so I'll answer, and it's in my ears. So I'm walking around. That's the easiest thing. I can just answer the phone and set it somewhere and be like, and do my thing. It's kind of sick. And a lot of people think, it's like the Bluetooth guy that you're like, what is he doing? That is me, man. That's what I do. I'm walking around just like talking to some strangers, and people are like, who's he talking to? But hey,
it works.
Yeah.
And that's life for you, right? I mean,
yeah, it is life for me. I'm bionic, man. It feels good. You should try it.
Now I know another big, like you said, another big impact for you is being on The Voice. You were on there when you were 15 and 16, because audition at 15, on the show at the age 16. What was that like?
Bro, it was first off a surprise because I did that open call audition in Chicago with my parents and was kind of just like, hey, let's see what happens, and didn't know I was going to make it as far as I did. So it was a surprise in a lot of ways. But then, I made it on Team Pharrell, and that was a blast. And it was just like getting to see that world of production and music. And I mean, it's really surreal. It's really cool. I mean, dude, you had all these schedules. I mean, I had to have hair and makeup, man. I had to have full body makeup. Any part of your skin that was showing on the show, they had to put makeup on it, which is hysterical. So I'm like, they put makeup on your hands, and you're like, it's just like all that stuff is real eye opening. You're like, what on earth? Like you don't think that you're gonna have to do all that, but it was fun. They pick out like a picked out a wardrobe. I had like the whole wardrobe, and like you're like, who am I? Y'all know I'm from Wilmore, Kentucky, man. It's 2 stoplights and a railroad track. Best thing we got is Subway. You know, sure, go ahead. I'll have that jacket. Put that jacket on me. So it was just funny, man. It was definitely like I got the bug of like, oh man, there's a big world of this, you know, a lot of fun stuff to do with this, and so yeah, I've been trying to do it ever since, I guess.
Well, like you said, that's what pushed you to head to Nashville, kind of.
For sure,
you know, you were bitten by the bug, but like you said, you grew up in Wilmore, Kentucky, which for those that don't know, that's about 30 minutes, 20 minutes, depending on traffic out of Lexington.
Yep.
What was it like growing up in Wilmore?
Dude, yeah, it was great, man. Like small town, not a whole lot to do, but also, I mean, like you said, 20, 30 minutes outside Lexington, you're right near anything you need to be near to. And but yeah, man, it's just a real humble upbringing. Like it's the thing I'm grateful for the most is just having that, growing up in that town, and it's a sweet town. It's a simple town. A lot of love, just a lot of good people there. And yeah, I'm proud of being a Jessamine County kid. Like I really am. It's the thing. I write it in my songs. You'll hear it, and even some new songs coming out. I talk about it, and I think that a lot of people like kind of want to leave where they grew up, and then when they get to where they want to go, they want to go right back. And I feel that. I'm 23, but even then I'm like, dang, you don't realize how good you have it till you leave it, you know. But yeah, Wilmore's awesome, man. My parents met at Asbury, that college right there, and my grandpa went there. I did basketball camp there, and just had a lot of good memories there. And we still have like a little house on Main Street that they were going to tear down, and we bought it and redid it, and we'll go there and stay there sometime. So it's still home for sure. We go back there when we can.
Well, and obviously growing up in Kentucky, you see a lot of the musicians that come out of here, from Chris Stapleton to Tyler Childers, Sturgill, everything like that. What impact did kind of growing up in kind of the countryside of Kentucky and have on you and your music love? Dude,
I think, oh yeah, man. I mean, those are great examples. I mean, even bluegrass, has just like something I grew to love, and I do have some of that in my songs. You can hear some elements, and I write a lot about it. Just the visuals of home, I think, I want to be able to, like as an artist, kind of write about and sing from the world I'm from. And so I talk a lot about that. I have a song I'm hoping to put out here soon called Kentucky and Me. And it just kind of talks about how like you can't take where I'm from out of me. And the whole hook of the song goes, my roots are like the Cumberland running deep. Where I'm from is who I'll always be. And if you start falling for me, girl, there's more than what you see, and that's in Kentucky and Me. And it's just talking about how, yeah, you just can't take that out of me. So I try to put a lot about where I'm from, and just yeah, man, I'm the Kentucky's where I'm from, man. That's always what I'll sing about and write about.
Well, I was gonna say when you're writing, I feel like at least in these last couples, I feel like found your sound here lately. You can hear those stories. Like I think of Blue Collar, where you're talking about your grandpa in the song, having the window down for 40 years and stuff like that. You get those actual visuals. Is that kind of what you're hoping for whether it's a song that you've written or co-written or anything like that?
Dude, yeah. I mean, yeah, dude. I mean, I want to, like, Blue Collar was a song that I was thinking I had that kind of concept when I brought it in a room I was writing with Mark Trussell, Luke Laird, and I was like, man, what do I want to do? What do I want to say? Where am I from? And I'm Jessamine County. I mean, it's a blue collar town. It's a working town, 9 to 5, and that's what my dad did. That's what everyone I knew did, and so that's where I'm from. I'm not Georgia red dirt country. I'm not Texas. I'm not necessarily Texas cowboy hat country, even though I relate to a lot of that. And it's just I'm a from a blue collar kind of country, and so I think that was why that song was important to me. I was like, hey, if you know that, if you're from that, which is a lot of America, really. I mean, most of America, I'll say. It's like then you'll understand that. And so yeah, my papa, he did smoke Marlboros for 40 years. And he tried to quit by eating Dum Dums or those lollipops, you know. Anytime I'd come in his house, he had a bucket. I'm telling you, like a big old gallon-sized bucket, a Dum Dum or what? Yeah, a Dum Dum, the suckers, yeah. So he tried to quit it, man. But you know, those are those good memories. You got to put them in there.
No, I love it. Like I said, that's you really can see that coming through, and you know, obviously. You know, you've put out a couple singles, like I said, Blue Collar back at the end of 2022, Makes a Man earlier this year, and recently Dust.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I feel like you found your sound, because I know on The Voice you're a little more poppy,
that's right.
so to speak, and now
I
feel like you've got the country in you coming out.
Totally. Yeah, no, I dude, it's funny. I went through, like, you know, you try to find all your elements and see what they make, you know, but I was like, you know, I grew up singing Christian music, and I was like, well, I don't want to always sing about, you know, I feel like I can sing about other stuff and just faith. And then I was like, all right, well, I'll sing some pop. And I was like, well, I don't know if I can sing just pop, but I like some pop. And then it came out to where I'm at now. So it's a lot of those influences, but definitely glad I'm not wearing what I wore on The Voice. I'll tell you that. Happy to wear my boots and jeans. Amen. Golly.
A little more comfortable.
Woo! A lot more.
Now, I was going to say, you know, people might see you having success down in Nashville, putting out those songs and so forth. But like you said, you've been down there, you know, 5-6 years. And,
yep.
You know, what's that journey been like over that time? Because it's not always success right off the bat when you head to Nashville.
Totally. Yeah. No. Yeah, man. I mean, it's funny. It's going by fast. It's, you know, like. I was used to be able, you know, I used to be able to say, oh, I'm the young guy in the room, you know, like, oh, I've only been here a couple years, but now it's about hit 6, you know, and I'm like, dang, that's a lot. So, but yeah, man, I mean, it took about a year or so to finally get a publishing deal. That was my goal. I wanted to write songs professionally. That was like the dream. It still is a dream for me. It's my favorite thing in the world. So it took about a year to sign a publishing deal, my first publishing deal, and I signed with Creative Nation, and it's an independent company in town, and a lot of my heroes are here, and so it was an honor to work here, and it's a place I plan on staying for a while. So since then, it's, you know, COVID kind of, you know, that threw out, you know, a lot for, I'm sure, you know, everybody you've talked to and had on, and it was sort of a time for me to dig in and write more songs. Really, it's kind of under, you know, behind the scenes, and then since the last couple of years, I've just been building my team as far as like management and touring, and like just trying to get out on the road and play shows. That's what I've been doing as of late. Is just playing a lot more, and that's what I want to do. I want to get in front of fans and find my people who know what I sing and see themselves in my songs. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now. I've been wanting to get on the road, and we're starting to make it happen this year, which is fun. So I'm grateful for it. But it definitely has been a long road for sure.
So like you were saying, you know, you're getting out on the road. You know, you played a little Big Town recently. Connor Smith there for some shows. I think you got some other ones coming out. What's it like to be out there, and because that's definitely different than just, you know, writing songs and getting in the studio. For sure, dude. Oh yeah, it's a different world for sure. I'm kind of, my eyes are kind of been open. I mean, for the last several years, I've been making the music and writing, and so this is, you know, a whole different muscle, and it's exciting. It's something I've not done, and it's given me like, it's just firing me up, and I want to be good at it. I'm just, you know, I'm learning a lot, you know, but I got to open for Little Big Town actually this weekend at the Fox Theater in Atlanta. That was crazy. It was a dream venue for me.
I had my whole family out there. A lot of us, like first probably 20 of us. It was.
Now, were they decked out in Jonathan Hutcherson gear, signs, and everything?
They had the merch. They were decked out to the nines. You could have spotted us from a mile away, man. It was awesome. But I'm laughing because I'm like, I know we're like the redneck crew, and everyone's like, what are these people doing? But man, that's part of it. That's fun when you got your family. I'm like, I told my mom and my dad after, I was like, y'all, I mean, you come to any show this is what it's about. Like they loved it so much. They had so much fun. My grandparents were there, aunt and uncle, cousins. I mean, literally everybody. And I was like, this is what it's about. They're all like, we want to come to the next one. And I'm like, y'all come out. I'll get you tickets. Like, this is fun. I want it to be fun for them. And they definitely do have a lot of fun. But yeah, man, that's been really fun just kind of to play live. And with Connor Smith, we got some more coming up. We got Nashville and Knoxville coming up. And we got some Carly Pierce dates and some more little big town dates. And I'm pumped, man. I'm excited for the summer. It's going to be good.
Well, because like you said, I know that was a goal, so that's awesome, and
yeah,
and I'm guessing too that since you've put out a few singles,
yep,
already, what's that leading to? Some more new music, another EP, an album.
Mm-hmm.
What can you say that won't get you in trouble with your crew?
Right? Yeah.
I've learned that I don't want to get anyone in trouble.
I know. Yeah. So, dude, yeah, we are cutting. We're cutting new music like next week. So we're going to go cut several more songs, and I'm really, really, really excited about this next batch of songs. I think it's even more me, and it's some of my favorite songs. It's going to have a lot of Kentucky elements where I'm from, even more so actually. But it's going to be anthemic, very anthemic and rootsy, and because I want people to, I want it to feel different, but I also want people to turn this up in their car, their trucks, their cars, and on boats, man. If you're on a boat, I want to be able. I want to get your head bopping. So we got some of that, and then we got a lot of heart in this next kind of project. Singles EP, I'm not sure yet, so we'll kind of see where it goes.
And I think I touched on this a little bit earlier, where I really do think I feel like you found a good groove for yourself, because it just seems so authentic. But how difficult was that? Because I know when you get to Nashville, you got all these folks telling you different things, or you're seeing different things and this person popping off and this person, and it can be difficult to stay within you and kind of be you. Totally.
Yeah, I mean, it's really good. It's something I'm going to be figuring out forever, but but I would say at first, and still what I do. First, I knew what I wasn't and the songs I didn't want to sing. And then that became clearer and clearer. And now I feel like I'm definitely entering this spot of like what I want to sing and what I want to say. And I'm realizing like, it's cheesy. They're like, be yourself and just, but it really, that's all you can do. I mean, you have to only share how you see the world and what you believe. And so, I talk a lot about that in my songs and my point of view. I mean, really, that's what I'm learning. Like, what's my point of view? And so, I think this next kind of batch of songs, you're gonna hear a little more of my point of view on life, which is cool. And but yeah, man, it's changing, and it's something. It's definitely something that will be like the challenge for my career is always just how do I say what I want to say, How do I be my most authentic kind of self as far as like when it comes to music, for sure.
Well, like I said, I think what you've been putting out, Dust, Blue Collar, Makes a Man, that's stuff that people can relate to, and it's what caught my ear and why I wanted to reach out, because I enjoy those songs. And
thanks, man.
Obviously, we're just a little ways, I guess a little more than a little ways into 2023. As you say, time flies.
Yeah.
So what can folks expect from you the rest of 2023? I mean, I know you got working on some music, got some tour dates, but what can they expect from you, and what are you hoping to accomplish?
Yeah, man. I mean, definitely, as of now, hopefully several songs throughout the summer, new stuff to jam to, and hopefully, in the fall, summer and fall, hopefully you'll be able to see me on the road if you haven't, because I'm trying to go out and meet everybody that listens to my music. So that for sure. Those are the big things. I also, something we did last year, my brothers and I, something we're probably going to do every year, but we planned a race that we did last December across the coast of California, and it was a 112-mile race that we did in 4 days, and which is something we kind of had the itch to do, and we raised some money for a hearing aid nonprofit called Hearing the Call, and the work they've done, and I've worked with them, and they're amazing, and so we're looking forward to doing that again, and kind of planning how we want to do that as well, because me and my brothers, we like kind of getting into some fun stuff, something challenging. We love long distance running, and so we're trying to see if we want to do that in California, up the PCH, or if we want to do somewhere in the U.S. So we're planning that. So that's another fun thing, and we documented that, and we'll kind of post little clips of all that and all that. So we're kind of planning that too. But yeah, man, there's a lot of little things we're going to try to do this year. But yeah, man, I'm excited.
So everyone needs to stay tuned, because some fun things
man.
could be happening.
Yeah, you never know. You never know what's going to happen.
No,
Yeah.
I love that. And like I said, folks, if you haven't, check him out, Jonathan Hutcherson. Listen to the songs. Like I said, I've really enjoyed it. And dude, I appreciate you sharing a drink with me and sharing your story with me.
Cheers. Thanks for having me, Jonathan. I appreciate it.
Find more from Hops and Spirits at hopspirits.com.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.